Hi, in this video, I'm going to go over my favorite 7 essential tips every Craigslist or e-marketplace shopper needs to know so that you don't get scammed, you get what you pay for, and you get it at the best price. Okay, so truth be told, the reason I'm making this video is because I made some silly mistakes that you just don't have to make. Now, I know enough about furniture as an interior decorator and as a professional organizer, and as someone who loves to furnish a home at a great price. I've done this enough to know, but there I went wanting this piece so badly. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a great detail up here that I fell in love with. I love the black with the gold handles. I love all the drawers because that means more hardware and more detail. It was gonna be perfect for my space. So before I even saw it, I got emotionally hooked, which was silly because I made silly decisions when I got there. I wanted the sale to happen so that the seller could get it off of her hands and I could bring it into my space that I was furnishing. But at the end of the day, there were things that I missed because I was emotionally involved and my head wasn't clear. And there are things about it that I could change, but took me a lot of time and additional money. And there are some things that I just can't change that I don't know that I'm completely happy about. So I'm gonna go over those tips with you now. Tip number 1 is probably on the forefront of everyone's mind when they go and they shop at someone else's home. It's your safety. So don't go alone. And if you're going to go alone, make sure you tell someone else what time you're gonna be there, what the address is, and then give them a text or a phone call when you're done so that they know you're safe. But not only for safety reasons, not going alone gives you someone else to see the product as well. Hopefully they're not emotionally attached to it and they can help you make a smart decision. I did not do this. I fell in love with the piece. I forgot about all the things that I wanted to make sure this piece had because of my emotional involvement, and I made a silly purchase. So don't go alone. It's a great way to bounce ideas off of someone, have someone else see it with their eyes. Hopefully they're not emotionally involved. It's just better all around. Tip number 2 is make sure there's good lighting in this space. So I knocked on the door, a really friendly woman answered. I felt safe, I felt comfortable. My husband Nick knew where I was, everything was fine, she let me in, and she had a beautiful home. It actually reminded me like I was in the pages of Restoration Hardware. She had really dark gray walls, she had big, beautiful lighting, but it was all Edison bulbs, they were all set really low. Gorgeous space. Not ideal for shopping for furniture. Because of the low light, I couldn't see the terrible paint job that was on this baby. So when I got her home, this space has a lot of light, especially in the afternoon. I could see how splotchy the paint job was. I'm thinking it's something that she had done, and because her home was dark, she didn't know how bad it was, but I certainly knew, and I was really disappointed because not only was it going to take me a good day and a half to sand it down, to paint it again for a second coat, I mean, all those things that needed to happen, I also had to pay for more paint. Turn the lights up. Use your smartphone if there aren't a lot of lights. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be silly like me. Actually see the thing that you're gonna go buy so you know exactly what you're getting. Tip number 3 is to make sure you're getting the kind of construction you want. Now, if you know a little bit about furniture, you know there's different ways to join pieces together. I wanted to make sure that this at least had dovetail joinery so that it would last me a while. Some joinery is just glue and staples or glue and nails. I wanted it to be solid construction. When I emailed the seller and I asked her if it had dovetail joinery, she said yes. I don't think she knew what that was because I don't believe she was trying to scam me. And when I went to go purchase it, I could have double checked, but I forgot to ask. So not only was it dark and I couldn't really see what I was buying, but I also forgot to see if it indeed was what I thought it was, which was dovetail joinery. But when I got home and I started taking the drawers out because I had to start painting them because the paint job was bad, I noticed it's not dovetail. And part of the price that I paid once I got to the end of the conversation when I was at her home, part of that money went towards decent construction. It's not dovetail. It's like staples and glue, and I don't think this is gonna be roughed house enough for it to be a major deal, but it's still what I paid for, and I know better.
Making beef stew.
I was talking about the spoon. Is it made of wood?
Is it all wood? Seems like a silly question to ask if you're looking at a dresser like this, but I just didn't think to ask and or look. What's wrong with me? I got this home, and because of the paint job, I was taking the drawers out, and I noticed underneath each drawer, it's just cardboard. I mean, it's not even like plywood, it is cardboard. And in the back, cardboard. Underneath, cardboard. So the only thing that's wood is really the top here and the face of each drawer and the bottom detail. Everything else is cardboard, which just means that whoever made this made it as cheaply as possible. Super cute upon first glance, but it's not a substantial piece of furniture, which I thought I paid for. So yes, ask that in your email when you go to inquire about a piece of furniture, but when you go to pick it up or to look at it in person before you take it home, make sure it's all wood. Remember that person you came with because I told you not to go alone? That person can hold up the furniture for you while you take your flashlight and look underneath. Pull it away from the wall and make sure the back is all wood. Now you're probably saying, well, didn't you pick it up and take it outside? Well, yes, I did, but she helped me pick it up. We took it outside together. I was talking to her the whole time. I didn't look at the back. And what was I thinking? So you think, because I didn't, look at the piece of furniture in entirety, in good light, and you won't make the same mistake I did. Tip number 5. Let's say you see a piece of furniture and it's by a great designer or an awesome maker, or they swear it's restoration hardware, whatever, and they even include a picture of the restoration hardware mark on the furniture or whatever designer made it and which number of furniture it is or the serial number. Great. But again, don't be like me and not look when you get there, because you want to make sure that picture came from the piece of furniture that you're going to pick up and take home. So you know what I would do is make a list of all the things that you asked about in the email, or maybe you didn't ask about in the email, but you want to make sure you do when you get there, and you don't forget about asking those things because you get in a great conversation with the seller, or if they've got a lot of kids running around the house and it's hectic. I mean, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you hit those points. I knew this wasn't a fancy designer piece of furniture, even though I was looking for dovetail joinery and I wanted something all wood. But in case you are, or you're enticed by someone saying it's a designer piece, make sure you can find that maker's mark. And no, I'm not talking about the bourbon, although if they give you bourbon with the purchase, win. Okay, tip number 6, I'm just gonna throw in there because it's actually one of my favorite tips, but especially with furniture because you're gonna take it home, and you might know where I'm going with this, but you wanna be careful about bed bugs. Sometimes people think that, okay, someone came in, they sprayed or they bombed the place, but I just wanna get rid of this furniture so that I can just start over and start new, whatever the case may be. Now, bed bugs are hard to see. I mean, you can try to go in the person's apartment or home and go with your flashlight and look for bed bugs, but you probably aren't going to find them because they like to hide until everyone's sleeping. But that being said, the biggest tip you can look for is to make sure the person doesn't have a bunch of bites all over their body. Not everyone reacts the same way to bed bugs in terms of getting bites in their body. I mean, I've had them. This is why this tip for me is important to share with you. And I have them because my roommate brought home a couch that was infested. When she got bit, she didn't have a reaction. I did. So this isn't foolproof, but if you go into someone's home and they're itching a lot, or they have red bumps, You just get a feeling in your stomach. Ask them, why are you getting rid of this? And hopefully they'll be excited to tell you, I bought a new piece of furniture that's more expensive, or we're moving, or we're redecorating. And they'll probably have a lot of enthusiasm, but if they feel weird about it in their response and your stomach just doesn't feel right, just know that bed bugs are out there. They like to hide in furniture and in crevices, and you don't want to bring them to your home. Take it from me. Tip number 7 is pricing. If you follow all of these tips that I've given you, when it comes time to negotiate the final price to take it out the door, you can go over all these things in your head because unlike me, you've made a list of everything that is important to you about this piece of furniture, and you can say, okay, cool. So I turn the lights up and the paint job is splotchy. I'm gonna have to repaint this. I know it's gonna take me about a day and a half, plus the cost of paint. I need to deduct this much from your asking price because of that. Or, hey, it's not Restoration Hardware, or it's not Pottery Barn. Not a big deal. I still love the piece, but it's not worth what you're asking. Would you take this? All those things can come into play now that you have actually gone through everything. Is it dovetail joinery? Is it all wood? Because if not, I could have gotten this piece for a lot less than I paid for it. It looks good, but I'm not gonna reconstruct. I'm not gonna put plywood underneath every drawer. I'm not gonna put plywood in the back of this. It's just not worth it for my project, the reason I have this in this space. It looks fine, it's gonna last fine. I'm probably not gonna keep anything in the drawers. It's for an Airbnb space. I did repaint it. It took me a day and a half to sand it down because it felt gritty and it just wasn't done right. That just took me a long time. Plus I did chalk paint so that even if I couldn't get everything off, the chalk paint sticks to everything and I just love the way it feels, but it's a more expensive paint. So I had to pay more for that. It just wasn't the best purchase I've ever made. And I'm smarter than that and I know better, but in the end, it made for a great video that I could share with you. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you can learn from my mistakes. You don't have to be an expert antique shopper or an expert furniture shopper to make smart purchases with people on Craigslist or Facebook marketplaces or what have you. Just make sure you know what you're getting and do a little research between the time you email the person and the time you go pick it up, and write that list down of what you want to double check and what you want to look for and know what you want to pay for it. Say, okay, just in case this isn't a Restoration Hardware piece, this is what I would pay for it instead. And take out that exact amount in cash and say, this is what I have to give you. Deal or no deal, not a big deal if you want to try to get someone else to pay more. Because at the end of the day, it's not personal, it's a business transaction, and you don't want to have buyer's remorse like this girl does. Thank you. We're working on a lot of how-to videos and I'm always looking for content. I've got 4 apartments that we're renovating right now. So if there's something you want to see, like, Sarah, how do you patch a hole in the wall? Or I want to replace a toilet and I want to do it myself, and all these videos that I'm finding online are missing this, or they're boring, or they're too long, or they're too short. Let me know, because we'd be happy to make videos that are tailored to what you want to see. And last but not least, please hit subscribe, especially if you like this video. It lets YouTube know that our videos are helping people, and at the end of the day, that's exactly what we're trying to do. We are lifelong students of home improvement. We're learning things every day about houses. They're all made differently. There's so many ways to get a project done. We would love to show you what's working for us so that you can do it yourself, or if you're having a contractor come over to do this project for you, like taking the toilet out, you can still watch a video on how to do it so that when they do it, you're like, oh yeah, I remember they did that in the video, or oh yeah, I remember Sarah said to make sure they do this. If the contractor's not doing that, you're a little more educated and you're not blind to what they're doing. So we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for stopping by.